Yo, what is up, everybody? It's CTDG here. I am Chandler, the one without the beard.
And I'm Teets, the one with the beard.
We were out playing the other day at the J.Beast course in J.B. Hunt in Springdale, Arkansas, and we're going to go through what we were doing.
Okay, so on hole 1, it says it's a 230 hole. It doesn't really show accurately what all it looks like, but there is a tree right in the way where the red dot is. It's like directly in front of it. So you have to go around that tree, and it's surrounded by woods. This is my first shot. I threw it off and to the right. You can't see it. It kicks off a tree and goes hard right. Not that good of a shot.
I'm going to opt for the forehand on this hole since it does finish right. And I'm throwing a felon here over stable, hoping to finish right. So I release it really, really well, but you can't see it as well. I do kick off a tree to the right, and I get a bad kick.
This is my up shot right here. I'm trying to go through this tiny little hole, and sadly, I do not. I hit a tree and go straight down.
I'm in a very similar situation. I have a lot of trees in front of me, so I'm just going to throw this hard and hopefully break through. Got a really awkward stance, but surprisingly, I don't hit a single thing, so I go about 60 long.
This was my putt to try to save my par. It was about a 30-footer, and yeah, I didn't really give it that good of a bid.
Worst putt of the day for you.
Probably.
Can't really see me. I'm kind of in the back over there, 60 long. I'm going to throw a tomahawk here. And I didn't see how close that actually was, but a lot closer than I thought.
Yeah, you got really lucky with how well that stuck.
But hole 1, harder than you would think to birdie.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward hole. It's just, if you don't get a good shot, you're not going to birdie this hole.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Unless you get like a good, 70-foot putt just going up the hill. It's pretty tough.
Oh, yeah, and if you look at all my putts, it's going to look about that all day.
Dead duck.
Yeah, dead duck.
Looks like Peyton Manning throwing a football.
Basically.
That's how you putt. I just throw flat, but I squeeze it over the rim usually. First putt of the day, so I take my time, blow off my fingers. And take my time, and in. Beautiful putt. All right, hole 2, par 3, 217 feet. The picture doesn't depict it perfectly. There is trees on the left and right like that. It's similar to hole 1, it just doesn't hook right as far, but you want to opt just for a straight flying disc or a forehand that can fly straight and then just finish right.
So since we both got bogeys, I'm on the tee box again, so I'm throwing a judge. And as you see right here, it goes basically perfect right in the middle of the fairway. I could have gotten more on it, but it was pretty good first shot.
I'm going to do exactly what I did on hole 1, opt for the forehand. Try not to hit any branches or any trees, but I do release it a bit high. It looked good out of the hand, just caught a branch, and I'm in the middle of the fairway. So I can leave myself with about, 70 feet or so, 65. I'm going to do a little jump putt, see if I can pull any magic. Looks really good. I have to run down the hill, and I actually hit the pole. See my reaction. I was happy about it still.
We were really surprised whenever he hit that pole. This is about a 20-foot putt uphill, and I surprisingly made it. It was probably one of my best putts on this hole.
Ever?
So I normally struggle on this hole.
I'm foot faulting there, so I had to adjust, but this is probably my best putt.
Weirdest looking putt, I'll give you that one. No, it's not your weirdest looking one, but...
Wait till later.
Okay, so I ended up getting a birdie, so I'm going to start off on this hole, but this is hole 3. It's just like on the first 2, it doesn't really show it well. Instead of the 2 trees in the back, it's lined with trees all the way around, and then it has like 4 guardian trees that you have to get around. So you basically have to throw a perfect Anheuser backhand shot or a really good forehand shot to get it anywhere near. I'm throwing a backhand Anheuser here, and I throw it a little bit too far right, and I kick a tree and land right in the middle of the fairway.
At least you got in the middle of the fairway.
I was not happy about that.
I'm doing exactly what I've done the last 2 holes. I'm going to opt for a felon forehand and just hope I can keep it low enough and just get up next to the basket. But my issue is I keep releasing it a bit high. I got to lower my body a little bit. But I'm in a pretty good spot. I have a putt.
So this, I tried to go with another Anheuser turnover, as you're about to see. And I didn't really get a good follow through, and I kick a tree and go straight right. Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. But, no, this is my worst of the day. kicks off a tree, and yeah.
Slip out of your hand, or was it just a bad
It
release?
was just a really bad release. All in all, anyways.
See, my shot was good. I'm giving myself a look from about 35 or so. Really, other than hole 2, my first accurate distance putt of the day, and I just leave it a little bit low. I mean, I have a par shot. It's going to be an easy par.
This is to save my par. No, this is my bogey shot. And I didn't get a good putt at all and left it short.
So we're just going to tap in. I mean, this hole, we want to birdie this every time. I think that's the way it should be. It's not too difficult of a hole, especially for me. I throw forehands very well.
Oh man, I really love throwing this hole because I normally get a really good
Turnover.
Anheuser on my Atlas and get it perfect. But
all right, hole 4. It's a par 3, 368 feet. Pardon. Picture shows pretty good. It's a little bit zoomed in. It doesn't show a bush that is hiding the pin a little bit, but it goes down into a valley, up a hill again, and the pin is in between a bunch of trees. You can easily throw this, but you have to throw a really, really accurate direct backhand is usually what a righty would do, and it's what I opt to. But you got OB on the right and just a wide open field to the left.
Yeah, I mean this hole really does show how well it pretty much is one of the most accurate yardage or footage of the hole. It really does play like it's 368 because it is a little bit downhill, but it does go back uphill.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I opt for the backhand. I felt pretty decent today throwing a backhand, but throwing a very overstable disc. I didn't turn it over as much as I wanted to, so it's just going to carry left, and I'm going to leave myself with a really bad spot to throw for bushes.
So normally whenever I throw this hole, I throw a turnover sheriff. That's what I'm going to do right now with I'm throwing a sheriff. And normally I go really far right and test that OB, but I decided to go really far left. I get it past this first tree, but it didn't turn over as much as I wanted to, and go straight into the big bush right behind this tree right here.
I just came back. I had to look for the pin. I have no view right here, so I'm just going to pull out a harp and try to do a nice little tomahawk, get myself a look for my par shot. And actually, I landed about 10 feet from the pin, but I got a bad roll away and put me 10 feet further back.
Here, I couldn't see the pin at all, so I had to like really guess where it was. And, of course, I threw it really far left because I had no idea where it was.
I mean, this hole, it's pretty challenging just because of how accurate you need to throw. But it shouldn't be too hard to par. We just kind of had our bad shots leading to the left, which is not really want to be. Yeah, I almost made that putt.
You hit the chain, almost hit chains there.
Yeah, really story of the day, honestly. You guys will see.
This putt right here, I really wish I left it a little bit farther left. I decided to go for
You almost drained it, literally. Not with, you almost didn't chain it at all.
I tried to go for a floater there, and I almost made it. I was really disappointed whenever I missed that, but
we both bogey this, sadly.
Yeah. So what? You're +2 and I'm +3 right now.
Yeah, rough start. We usually shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So this hole, this is the most inaccurate picture of the whole course, in my opinion. So what it does is it goes downhill and to the right instead of a straightforward shot. And there is a line of trees right in front of the hole that completely block off the hole, and there's a hill that the basket's on that makes it a little bit of an elevated putt. So it's a really difficult hole to get there into. If you do though, you're gonna have a really good.
You're just having a good day probably. If you can
really
do that.
Round.
So. The throw I had on the last hole, since it does finish right, a little bit angled, I'm going to try to finish it left, kind of how I threw on the last hole, so I'm going to offer the backhand, but it comes good out of the hand. I just throw it low and just...
kind of slipped out of your hand there, because it was really wet outside.
Yeah, that's another thing. It doesn't really show how wet it was. This is early in the morning. It felt like we were playing in the rain, almost, every time we picked up the disc. That's how wet it was.
Yeah, so on this one, I decided to go for a roller. I tried to like roll it right in there because it was wet. It didn't really go as far as it needed to, and it really finished off pretty farther right than I wanted it to.
Yeah, you see me cleaning off my disc. That's not even a disc I've thrown yet, and it's already wet. So I'm going to opt for my more comfortable shot. I'm going to throw a high forehand, try to get in close to the basket. I throw it a bit short, catch a tree, just land, but I leave myself a jump putt.
Here, I was actually really surprised I had this much of an open look. As you can see, that all those guardian trees, but I really give this one a look. I almost hit the pin. we were like, oh wow, we thought we were gonna make this.
Close birdie.
Oh man,
it looked good. It looked good. I literally thought you were about to just drain chains.
I was hoping for it.
So keep an eye on the tree right in between us. Yeah, I clip a tree actually.
Hit the top of the basket.
Hit the top of the basket. Yeah, honestly, if that tree wasn't there, I think I had a good chance of making it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been pretty close. But this is my first par of the day, actually. No, yeah, it's my first par of the day because I got a birdie on hole 2. Yeah, it's not really that good of a day once your first par comes on hole 5.
Especially when you're exhausted and early in the morning when it feels like you're playing in the rain. I actually squeezed this over the basket.
Surprisingly.
So, hole 6, the par 3, 285. Picture does pretty well. Doesn't really explain how many trees there actually are. So, down by the basket, there's probably, I don't know, 15 trees just sitting there with a bunch of leaves sticking out.
Yeah, the only part about this that actually makes it look worse than what it is, like the only accurate part is it's a lot tighter of a fairway.
Oh, very tight.
Like it comes down and hugs the fairway, like the trees come down and hug the fairway really tight. It's just not that good of a shot to get there.
You have to throw a really technical shot here to really get it up to the basket.
Really straight and everything. So right here, I'm deciding to throw a truth here. I'm trying to get a little bit of a turnover, and I throw the turnover. It just doesn't come back and go straight right.
You did a lot of a turnover. You did a lot of a turnover, not a little bit of a turnover.
There's no OB on this hole, so I mean that's the lucky thing.
So a disc that's really proven useful on this hole is a compass. I'm just going to try to keep it at an angle, but it actually turned over a lot more than I thought it would, and just go straight into the bushes gives me a bad look. But surprisingly, I'm at the edge. I'm going to throw a turnover felon and try to just squeeze it in, maybe get a par. I'd be okay with a bogey at this point, but I got to just get a good turnover here, give myself a look, because I really don't have anything going for me right here. It comes really, really good out of the hand. It looks good. It does show on camera, but I kicked a tree, and it went straight left about 20 feet.
Yeah, you didn't really have much of a turnover there. I decided to go for a thumber here, trying to get over the trees. I didn't get quite over the trees, but I found a hole. What we couldn't see was it actually hit the top of the pin. We could hear it hit the top of the pin. It was surprising.
He almost birdied it. Yeah, I threw a really bad shot there. That there's just no excuse to that. So I have a little putt to save bogey, and it's just not what I want right now. This hole shouldn't be this difficult. And let's go ahead and get a release. But I mean, also by the way, on Tisa's shot, the walking path is not OB on this hole. But I missed my putt. I actually hit the band. And so now I'm putting back for a double with a tree in front of me, so I have to really line it.
Sun in your eyes.
Yeah, sun's all in my eyes. Early morning, just a bad scenario altogether. So far, a rough day putting, and I'm going to keep it rough. So I'm going to settle.
That's like the story of your day.
That really is. I'm going to settle for a triple on not one of the easier holes, but a hole that I definitely should not be getting a triple on.
Yeah, that's probably one of, not the easier holes. But yeah, probably triple's not the best on that. So hole 7 here, that tree right next to where the tee box is, that red little tee box, it's really accurate there. The tree branches really hold down on it. It's just a really tough shot. So normally players, on right-handed players, they go for a really wide hyzer, or they try to cut underneath the tree and go for a really low skip hyzer. Left-handed players just normally try to go for a forehand, or they try to go for a turnover backhand around the left side of the tree.
Well said. Well said.
But I get the first shot here, and I'm throwing a sheriff again, trying to throw it low, and I get a perfect shot and perfect skip. I'm really close to the pin.
What, 15 feet
I was
probably?
Like 10, 15 feet. It was perfect.
I'm going to go with another backhand here, and it comes out again just a little bit too low. If I threw that a bit higher, I would have been very close to the pin, get a birdie look, but I don't. But luckily, I actually still have a look at the pin through the little opening there. And he turns away, but I actually slipped while throwing it. That's why the disc is so high. But luckily, I am still next to the pin with a look for my par.
Yeah, now you can see where I landed. It was just a beautiful shot all around.
That's more like 10 feet, if anything.
Yeah, and I get my second birdie of the day. It looked like it was going to bounce out, and I was really scared for a second, but can't really complain about a second birdie of the day.
No, not at all. All right, hole 8, par 3, 177. This is just a straight tunnel shot. There's a little bit more trees than the picture depicts, but Pin's on the left, on the right, pardon, and it's on an elevated basket inside of a log. Really just want to throw a straight shot, try to get down, and just get a look for your birdie. There's nothing really tricky about this hole.
So on this, I'm deciding to throw my judge again, trying to throw it really straight. I threw it a lot higher than I wanted to, and it hyzered out really far. But once we get up there, you'll see that it's not as far away from the pin as we think.
No, it was a good shot. Like, I thought you were looking at 50 feet. So I'm just going to go with a forehand, keep it low, or try to keep it low. You see I'm drying off my disc again. It was seriously extremely wet out there, guys. It just doesn't show on camera. I release this really, really well. I do keep it low, and I am right up next to the pin for a look at my birdie.
Yeah, I tried to experiment with that, and I didn't really get a good zoom. But, yeah. This is my far putt. As you can see, it's elevated, and I left it low. I didn't really adjust too well to the elevated basket.
I am 10 feet or so from the pin. I just throw a good putt, get my birdie.
First birdie?
Yeah, it's my first birdie, surprisingly. And you take the camera with you.
Yeah, I didn't really feel like putting it down and just doing it. I didn't think about it too much, and I made it.
Fantastic putt.
Beautiful putt.
Fantastic putt.
Okay, so hole 9 here. This is probably the longest par 3 on the course. It's 402 feet. It's a lot downhill, and on the picture, you can see that there's a power line. That power line comes into play a lot more than you would think, especially...
Not the pole, just the lines itself.
Yeah, just the lines itself, not the pole. Especially if you throw a really high turnover. But it's a really fun hole, but it's...
Pretty technical. You can't really just throw a straight shot. I mean, you can, but you'll leave yourself with a lot of room still. You want to throw some sort of turnover.
Oh, and to get to the green, there's like this really... Not tight, but it's a pretty tight gap that the trees like come over onto the fairway. It's just a pretty tough hole overall.
So since I got the birdie, I'm going to lead this. A throw that's really worked out for me is a turnover forehand with the felon. So I'm just going to leave it with a bit of Anheuser. But it didn't want to fight out of it. I threw it. I turned it over a little bit too much. And you see my reaction. I'm not happy about it. This is a hole that I really want to get.
So I'm going for a turnover sheriff here. Trying to get it really high and far down there. And it gets perfectly over that. Really far right. Comes all the way down to the left and right in the middle of the
fairway. Yeah, it just looks like you released it a little bit high.
Yeah, if I would have thrown it lower, I probably would have been a lot closer. But
So I'm going for a really understable driver here just to try to turn it over. And I was really upset at the end, but if you look, I actually released it at a hyzer angle by accident. That's why I didn't turn over. I was really confused when I released that. So I just completely screwed myself over right there.
And you hit that power line.
That actually helped me probably, if anything. So I'm just going to throw a little bit of a hyzer with the felon and put myself up for a putt.
So I'm deciding to throw a judge here, trying to get it close, and I had a really bad shot. It just...
Good distance, good line, just, yeah.
Not that good of a shot at all.
But you leave yourself
trying to save my par here. And ugly looking putt, but I made it still.
Yeah. If it works, it works.
As you can see there, I'm trying to shake off my judge because it was soaked after I went in there.
All right, so I'm about the same situation, using my judge this time, and I tried adjusting to shooting low, and I decided to shoot inaccurately.
For bogey too.
Yeah, it was my bogey shot. So I'm actually it was my bogey shot.
Bogey, yeah.
So I'm at this point I'm irritated. And my putting's really off, which is surprising. I'm usually the better putter of the group.
Yeah, as you can see by how my putts look.
Yeah, I'm just off. I'm throwing everything too low. When I adjust, it seems that's just not going to work. All right, hole 10, par 4, 597, almost 600 feet. Tight OB on the left and right, and then the road that we're throwing off of actually leads next to the pin, so that becomes OB after the walking path ends. This shot, you just want to make sure you stay in the fairway. There's a sloping hill on the right side that you guys will see. Turnover shots are great on this hole, but if you just want to keep it straight, you can line up and just get your par.
Okay, so I was trying to throw a turnover at least whenever I threw this, but I was wanting to throw a turnover with my boss, and I ended up not really getting much turnover out of it.
A little bit high.
I got a little bit turnover out of it, but I threw it really high and it highs really hard down. Didn't get that good of a shot.
So I am scared of the OB on the right, so I didn't want to go for a forehand, which is my strength, and I should start doing. So I'm going to go with the backhand, and actually I released it really, really well, but it slipped out of my hand. It was still wet. I should have dried it off more, but the reason why I went so short is just because it slipped out and didn't get enough spin. So now I'm going for my forehand, tried to turn it over, but my trespass didn't want to turn over. So it's cooking towards OB, and believe it or not, I'm actually not OB over there.
So here I'm trying to get my approach with an EMAC. I threw that perfect, and I thought I was going to be really close to the pin, and I ended up landing next to the tree, and I was really surprised whenever I landed there.
Truly deceiving,
Yeah.
looking at it, yeah. So I pull out my harp. I'm just going to try to get an upshot, see how close I am to the creek over there. And I leave it a little bit low, but I'm not too upset about it. I give myself a look for my par.
Here's my approach. I'm trying to throw a harp, and I throw another really short shot. I thought these were like perfect shots, but leaves us both with like almost a 30-foot putt each.
You see how hard the hill slopes on the right, so this is a death putt from anywhere if you get a bad roll. So while throwing this, I'm actually a little bit scared, just so I kind of half bid it. I didn't want to mess it up at all. And there's also like a little, you can see right there, there's like a huge divot on the back side, which can also come into play and be really, really bad.
I'm just trying to save my par at this point, and I
band.
banned it. It's just not one of our favorite holes. This is actually the first, I think, round that we haven't thrown one shot OB.
Yeah,
but
it is.
We both end up with a bogey here.
This is a pretty common hole to throw OB on.
Yeah, this hole is probably one of the most common bogey holes. Hole 11, it's basically just a straight uphill shot.
A lot more trees. There's a lot more trees than that.
Well, I mean, on the left, it really like cuts it off. But after you get past the left part, it's just a straight open hill, just that one big tree that's not even really in play. But it's a 270 hole that really plays more like 300, 350. It's
not 350, but
not 350.
310-ish.
310. Yeah. It's a really far hole. So I'm just trying to throw my backhand, trying to get up there, and I throw too much turnover on it, and it goes really far right. I was not happy about that.
I want to stay away from the tree line, so I'm going to go with my felon here. Just keep it away, get up. I mean, I want to get a birdie here, but I'm happy with a par just because the trees really frighten me. And I grip lock it. You can't really say. Yeah, I'm not happy about it. I actually kick out.
We spent about 20 minutes looking for this disc.
Yeah, we thought it was in the woods, but it kicked out. I guess it hit a tree. And actually, I farted there when I released that shot.
Oh, my God.
It sounded like someone hit like a little firecracker, like squeezed it in their hand.
Yeah. And he landed right next to me. So I'm about 40 feet, a lot closer than I thought I was. So I tried to do a jump putt, and that was probably one of my worst jump putts I've ever done.
Yeah, so
it was just horrible.
So just a grip lock and a distraction when I farted threw me off. So I'm gonna throw a really high upshot.
You threw that so much higher.
I don't know how.
You did.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. I didn't expect to do that.
So this is to save my par here. It's not that hard of a putt, honestly.
And
But I throw it really short, and I'm really disappointed in that.
Wow, a putt you missed that I made. That was not the story of the day, was it?
Yeah. Surprisingly.
But this is a very disappointing bogey. This should be an easy par, if not a birdie, for us. Mm-hmm. But just a rough day, and it like.
As you see, I got mad and just chunked my disc in there. I was pissed.
Just, man, I can't imagine. I just can't think about how wet it was. You know. All right, so hole 12, par 3, 315. Picture really doesn't do it justice at all. It hooks left and just kind of leads into a downhill kind of slope where the pin is. It's a tight in to the left of the tee pad. It's a lot of trees, so you can't get stuck in there. It's a lot of chances for mistakes on this hole. But you just want to make sure you finish left, make sure you stay in the fairway. You can get a birdie or a par easy on this hole.
And the hole is right next to an extreme downhill.
Yes.
So if you go past the hole on this, you're going to be on a downhill slope, and it's going to be tough to get back up there.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing first. I decided to throw a thumber here, and it actually was really good. I was waiting for it to go far, and I hit a tree.
So this is my go-to play on here. I'm going to throw an understable end of a beast. Just going to have it turn left, finish back right, and just have a good look. And this is the best throw I've ever thrown in this hole.
Probably out of both of us, probably the best throw we've had.
We were listening for chains.
I honestly thought you hit chains. But I ended up in the tree line in the far back. There's a
not really, a bad spot to be.
Yeah, a really long tree line. I didn't have much of a look, so I tried to go hyzer out, And as you see, I actually landed right next to the pin.
You threw that perfect.
I was so surprised.
So you see where my drive was. Best drive I ever had in this hole. Leave myself with just a few feet. And
what was it? Your second? And
second.
Probably, I think it's your... yeah, it's
no
probably
spoilers.
your second.
No spoilers.
It's probably your second
No
birdie.
spoilers. It's my second birdie of the day. But yeah, I am extremely happy with that. I'm going to lead the next hole now.
Okay, hole 13. It's probably one of my favorite. This is a really accurate picture. There's a lot of trees in the way, but the only problem is it's 215. So it's really tight backhand gap for right-handed players and left-handed players, and really tight forehand gaps. Most people try to go over the trees, or they try to do a really low backhand skip shot towards the hole.
Yeah, there's a lot of different looks you can have on this hole. I'm opting for a forehand. I'm going to try to go left and hook it right. And I throw the line right. Well, not the line. I throw the disc the way I wanted it to, but it slipped out of my hand before I wanted it to release. So
you had a really
fortunate
I
roll.
thought it was a really good roll, but
it was.
As you see here, I'm throwing a thumber. This is my favorite hole because I throw really well on it. And as you can see, it lands right next to the hole and rolls a lot closer, leaving me with like a 5-foot putt.
That's a little bit further than that.
10 foot.
It's an easy putt. Let's
It
just go with that.
It was really
So
nice.
you see where all these trees are? The camera doesn't show. I had no look at all. So I'm looking to just throw a flat putter here, just land next to the basket for my par, and I just let it turn over on me, and it skipped. I don't know how it skipped.
Surprisingly, the harp skipped. As you can see how close I am right there.
Yeah,
but
I have a look to save my par, so I'm putting in the woods, just standing out to the side. Not the situation I wanted, and again, I'm short. My putting was short all day, and I'm not happy about this right now.
And then this is my third birdie of the day, leaving me at +3, and then you're getting another bogey.
Yep, just unfortunate stuff, disc slipping, my mistakes, and my bad putting is just bumping up my score right now. All right, hole 14, par 3, 295. This is a good picture, I think. Just straight uphill. 295 plays more like 240, and
I would say more like 310 because it is pretty uphill.
I mean,
really
340
far.
is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, my bad.
Not 240.
But yeah, you just want to throw it straight uphill. Turnover shots are great here, and just get it to the pin.
Which is exactly what I'm trying to do here. Well, you can't really see where our discs are gonna land, but I'm throwing a turnover sheriff, and this is probably one of the best drives we've had on this hole.
One of them, yeah, easily.
I put myself 25 feet away from the basket.
Was it really that far?
It was like 25 feet. It wasn't as close as we thought it was.
So what I did on hole 12, I'm trying to do again, just throw a turnover, but my beast actually turned over way more. You see it on the left. Way more than I expected it to, so I'm left with this upshot here, which, I mean, is definitely doable. And then I just throw it low once again, and I leave myself with a bad putt. Yeah, that's not 25.
It's just the angle it's at. I think it's around 20, but I make this. Surprisingly,
you
I got
get
another birdie. I'm having actually a pretty good day.
So
minus the first 3 holes.
Yeah, this is my par save right here. Just gonna try to drain this real quick, but I throw it low.
Throwing it low is like your specialty of the day.
So I am just getting angry at this point, and I smashed the disc.
Okay, so hole 15. This is actually a really good picture, but the hole has a giant uphill. We're throwing it over this like tiny ditch, and then it goes straight uphill to the hole. So it leaves a lot of death putts and everything, but you have a lot of lines to throw out of this.
There's a lefty hyzer line, a righty forehand line if you have the power to make it, but most people will opt to just go straight up the middle, I think, on this hole.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to throw a really good sheriff again, trying to go right through the middle, and it slips out of my hand and goes towards the lefty the right hand forehand route, like the really high one.
So you'll see me look. I'm considering the forehand route, but I'm just gonna try to squeeze it up the middle with my trespass, and I throw a good shot, just way too high. If I had that lower, I'd give myself a really, really good look.
Yeah, the trees came straight
and
down.
Then now I got another look just in the trees. I got to hook it around, so I'm just gonna try to throw this as hard as I can, and I do, but I catch another branch. I think I would have been within 30 feet of the pin. I threw that as hard as I could.
And your next shot.
All right, I'm already at my par shot, and I'm just going to throw a huge turnover with the felon, which comes out really, really well. Left myself with about 30, 25, 30.
Yeah, you were about 140 away from the pin still, dude.
I know.
So I'm trying to throw my one of my EMAC truths, and it anhyzered a lot more than I thought it would, and just leaves me a really long putt uphill.
This is your par shot.
My par shot, and
Left it a bit short.
Left it pretty short. Not that good of a look.
So this is for my bogey. Not a bad look. If I miss this, I get a double. So I'm really wanting to get this. Throw it, hit the top, and let's get a roll away real quick. Let's just get a quick roll away, go down that hill.
Attempt number 2.
Let's go ahead and get this for my double. But you know what's better than one roll away, Teats?
I don't know. I mean,
2 rollaways.
Hit my disc and just goes back to like exactly the same spot he was in just a minute ago.
So I'm just laughing. I knew I lost this game already, just playing really bad. But I get 2 rollaways, just insult to injury. So Teats is telling me to lay up here, but I say no. And luckily I don't get a 3rd rollaway.
I was surprised he didn't roll away again. Like, oh man. So I ended up getting a bogey.
I'm scared of the pin, so I get really defensive.
I get a bogey in what? You get a quad?
Yeah, I got a quadruple. All right, hole 16, par 3, 360. OB on the road to the left and the creek in the middle. It's really just a tight gap close to the pin, but you just want to throw it straight. You can really throw whatever you want here. You can throw a turnover, a straight shot. There's a lot of openings, but there is a big tree to the left of the pin that you really got to look out for.
It's really downhill, too. So
yeah.
The 360 more plays like 300, honestly. It's pretty far downhill. So I'm throwing my sheriff, trying to get a good turnover here. And out of my hand, I thought this was perfect. And then it didn't turn over at all. I'm over the creek by quite a bit, but I left myself with like a 40-foot shot.
Sheriff wasn't turning over very well.
Not today. No.
So I'm going for the Beast again, hoping just get a little Anheuser look. And actually what I tried to do was stand it up. But I guess it just isn't understable enough to stand up on its own. You see I'm talking about it. So I'm leaving myself a little bit. I mean, I can easily get a par out of this, so I'm just going to throw a harp up shot. And you thought I was going to get a birdie, didn't you?
I honestly thought.
I thought I had a birdie right there.
So as you can see here, this is like a 40-foot shot here. So I'm just trying to get my up shot, and it was bad. Again, I didn't really do great with my up shots today. Normally that's my best part of my game.
Yeah.
My up shots, but didn't leave myself too much.
Mine's usually putting and scrambling because my drives suck.
Yeah. Hey, you got a par.
Yeah.
It's like the first par in a couple holes.
Yeah, no, I'm happy about it, you know?
And this is my par shot right here.
That's actually my first par in a long time.
Ugly duck.
Because I got a birdie a while back, so I haven't had a par in a long time.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Just bogeys and then a birdie in there.
Okay, hole 17. This is a really bad picture. So on the OB line to the right, there's a long tree that hooks out into the middle of the fairway. It doesn't really affect your shot too much, but around the pin, the trees look almost exactly like that. It makes like a fence of trees.
Yeah.
But it's just a really long 537-foot hole with a lot of open space to throw really far.
You can do whatever you want, roller turnovers.
So trying to do a turnover again.
Yeah.
And this time I throw my sheriff again, and it turns over way too much.
It decides it wants to turn over today.
It decides it really wants to. So I'm behind the tree. I'm not OB, but I'm behind the tree.
So I am going to try to throw a turnover as well, but with a forehand. He turned it over too much, and I didn't turn it over enough. So, and I'm also throwing it way too high. My shots are just not falling for me. I'm still in bounds.
We thought he was close to OB here. He was really close. Like, the OB doesn't start till you get in the rocks.
So I'm just going to try to throw a felon, leave myself up, try to get a par on this hole. Throw it, and I threw it a bit too high. It looked good, just caught a branch.
Yeah, that kicked straight right. We thought it was OB again.
So
here, I decided to throw a forehand roller, and I really messed it up.
You cut it too much.
Didn't get anything out of that. I got back in the fairway at least, but really screwed myself up.
So round 2 of trying to get a felon up shot real quick. I'm looking at it. And there's no tree blocking me this time. And I threw this really well, just a little bit too left. Didn't give myself enough room for it to come back to the pin.
Here's my up shot here. And I threw this, and we both thought that could have went in. It was so close.
Very close. Just inches, it felt like. So here's my par shot, surprisingly, after those 2 bad shots. But you guys remember the story of the day, right? Low putts, and that one was to the right as well. So everything's just falling apart for me.
It's not that good of a round for you.
Oh,
and our PBs going to this was like +9. So I was having an amazing day.
Yeah, just a couple mistakes. I had more than a couple. mistakes. I had more than a couple on a single hole. All right, hole 18, par 3, 250. Decent picture. The trees are more to the left. I mean, the right, pardon. OB on the road to the left. And really, this is a perfect forehand if you're a righty, backhand if you're a lefty. And, I mean, there's a lot of space for you to really try anything you want, turnovers. I wouldn't do a roller because there's a slight hill, but other than that, pretty simple hole.
Well, yeah, this tree right here to the right is my worst tree. But I go for a backhand Anheuser. It goes pretty far. Probably one of my best shots I've had on this hole in a long time. I always hit this tree in the front.
This is one of my favorite holes just because how forehand friendly it is. So I'm just picking up my phone. I'm just going to try to crush it, let it finish right, and give myself a look for a birdie, hopefully. And I throw a really good shot, just a bit short, a little bit high. And I'm stuck behind the biggest tree possible on this hole.
I'm trying to throw my upshot here, and
Catch a branch?
caught a branch. And if I didn't catch that branch, it would have been really close of going in.
So camera doesn't really show this, but I am extended almost fully, and I still have half my side on the pin covered by the tree.
And you hit a tree.
So
As you can see how stretched out he is right there.
Yeah, like I still had the pin half covered by the tree there. So it was a really tough putt. I should have went about it better. I understand that. So I have a look for my par here, which, is fine. Until, spoiler alert, I miss. But
you hit the front of it again.
Yeah, my putting was so bad. If my putting was just a bit better.
As you look defeated in that
I was. One of the worst day I've had in months, I think.
It's probably the best we've had in a while. Yeah, that's just a good look.
That's a good gap right there of the score.
It's a good look of what it ended up being for the day. But obviously I set a new PB. We're not saying we're really good.
No.
We're what, like 2 months in now? 3 months in?
Three.
Three.
3 months in.
We're not that new, but we're not that experienced yet.
No, and I promise I am not a plus 16 guy. That's nowhere near.
It's just it was wet, and then it just didn't.
I just played bad. I performed bad. Also, I was sick. I don't want to keep making excuses for myself.
Oh, whatever.
I was sick. I could barely talk then. So
your putting was horrible.
It was.
But
that's okay.
Yeah. But as you can tell, I'm not that big of a forehand player.
No.
I think I threw one forehand roller, and that's about it for forehands.
Yeah, that's all you threw. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. This has been CTDG. And please subscribe if you want to watch more content, and more content is going to be coming soon. Thank you.